Indie animation. It's popular. Jesus. We can pretty much thank Glitch for that, with shows like Meta Runner, Murder Drones, and The Amazing Digital Circus showing off the power of a small but passionate group of people. Of course, while Glitch might be the biggest name in indie animation right now, that doesn't mean they were the first. Brought to us by Studio Massa from the beautiful, wretched, horrible lands of the Netherlands, we have an indie animation project that a lot of you might not have heard of, a nice little 6-part series called ONGEZELLIG. Somebody in my Q&A asked if I had ever seen it, and I made the unfortunate decision of checking it out. So now I'm gonna spread the misfortune to all of you by sharing my opinion on it. So anyways, what's up my guys and gals, it's your boy Tyromaniac, back with another smoking hot video, and today I'm talking about ONGEZELLIG. As always, I've got the link in the description for all of you to go subject yourselves to ONGEZELLIG like I have. It's not a choice, I know where you live, and I'll know if you haven't watched it, dear viewer. With that said, usually I'd tell you guys to go watch the series before watching this video to avoid all those pesky spoilers, but with ONGEZELLIG it honestly doesn't really matter which one you watch first. There isn't really a compelling story to be spoiled in the first place, although that's not necessarily a bad thing. The plot itself might be a little underdeveloped, but that's only because the plot itself isn't really the main selling point. The characters are. That's right, these three goobers right here pretty much carry the entire series on their backs, so telling you guys who they are might not be a bad idea. Our protagonist is Maya Schoppenboer, who's just your average, totally not autistic, Dutch schoolgirl. Don't question it. She's a bit of an introvert, but... actually, there is no but, she's just a massive introvert. That's alright though, because we also have Maya's two adopted sisters, Coco and Mai Mai. Coco's a bit of a ditz, which is a nice way of saying brain dead, but her heart is usually in the right place. As for Mai Mai is racist. She's just racist. So racist in fact that she's even racist against herself. Again, don't question it. So yeah, like I said earlier, the story itself is pretty run-of-the-mill, with the characters picking up the slack by being genuinely funny and entertaining. If you like ONGEZELLIG, then these three bozos are the reason why, no exceptions. Just be warned before you watch the series, because this show's humor definitely isn't the cleanest, so to speak. If you want to know why, then go ahead and translate this sentence for me. Anyways, seeing as how the characters play such a dominant part in the way the show is written, I actually want to do things a bit differently in this video than I do in my other reviews. Instead of making an overall review covering every aspect of the series, I want to focus specifically on the characters. Well, kinda. What I really mean is that I want to focus on one character in particular. You see, Maya Stroopwafel over here is quite the, special case. Let's just say if you gave her $1 for every sign of mental illness she had, she'd be pulling up to school in a McLaren. I feel pretty confident saying that she has ADD considering she literally says so herself, and it's kinda subtly hinted at that she might have autism too. You know, real wink wink nudge nudge stuff, like Mai Mai accusing her directly to her face. Either way, while ADD and autism are the two obvious culprits for Maya's current mental state, there's a third that I think explains things a lot better, and yet it's one that I don't really see brought up as much. They never explicitly mention it in the series, but I'd be willing to bet that Ms. Strudelbrewer over here has a major case of anxiety. I'll get into it a bit more in a second, but that anxiety, and more importantly the way the show handles it, is exactly what I want to talk about in this video. I know this might not be the most sane thing I've ever said, but I think that ONGEZELLIG might just offer the best example of how to handle mental health, or the lack thereof, in indie animation. That's right, get your Ryan Goslings and your Patrick Batemans out of here. This is the hot new literally me character. Alright, so before we can finally get to the actual point of the video, I want to remind you guys that this is all just my opinion, so please don't take any of it too seriously. I might have a little experience on this particular topic thanks to my moderate amount of mental diagnoses, but that doesn't exactly make me an expert or anything. Just take everything I say with a grain of salt, alright? Now with that out of the way, what am I saying exactly? Well, I think that if you take a closer look at how Maya acts throughout the series, you'll realize that it might be a lot easier to relate to her situation than you'd think. Like I said earlier, there are a few clues that Maya's biggest problem isn't ADD or autism, it's anxiety. If we take a second to look at the signs... Damn, these are some nice signs. Anyways, there are a few things we know about Maya that support the anxiety allegations, like how nervous she is while giving her history presentation, the fact that she spends most of her free time alone in her room watching whatever the hell this is, and the fact that she refers to loneliness as extrovert propaganda, but there's more to it than just that. For me personally, I think the most damning piece of evidence is how she reacts to people trying to be nice to her. When Coco offers to help her with the previously mentioned history presentation, her immediate response is to assume that she has some ulterior motive. Now I don't know about you, but that sure as hell sounds like a sense of impending danger, panic, or doom to me. Hell, if you just Google anxiety symptoms, it kinda feels like you're looking at Maya's mental checklist, and she's going for that 100% completion speedrun. That said, you could say that all this is just Maya being antisocial, and that it doesn't mean that she has to have anxiety, but I wouldn't be so sure about that. If you look at the very last scene of the series, when Coco and Mai invite her to hang out with them, you'll see that even though she turns them down without a second thought, deep down she really did want to be included. So yeah, discount cycle analysis over. Turns out that Maya's got a few things wrong with her. Never would have guessed. Anyways, how about we finally get to the actual point of the video like I promised earlier. You see, at some point after I finished watching ONGEZELLIG, but before I started forcing my friends to watch it, I realized that I actually related to Maya as a character a lot more than I originally would have thought. It wasn't even a conscious thing at first, more just this feeling I got that was like, hey, these emotions I'm seeing on screen feel vaguely familiar. Anxiety is something I've always had to deal with in some form or another, so for me personally, it kind of felt like I was seeing that part of myself manifest as a 16-year-old Dutch girl. That feeling of turning down invites because you'd rather spend time by yourself, even though part of you wishes that you had said yes. That feeling of wanting to be closer with the people around you, but at the same time not wanting to put in the effort. That feeling that people are only being nice because they have some sort of secret agenda. They're all feelings that I've had to deal with before, and they're feelings that I feel like a lot of people would be able to connect with, if only they were ever portrayed properly. With most of the movies and shows I've seen try to tackle anxiety, or some similar issue, it always feels like it's either being taken way too seriously, or played entirely for laughs with no real in-between. Not to go all social activist on you guys, but it's honestly my biggest problem with the way mental health is usually represented, and it's exactly what makes ONGEZELLIG stand out in my opinion. You see, by concocting the literary masterpiece that is Maya Strobe Light Buyer, Studio Masa was somehow able to fix both issues at once. He managed to present her mental illness in a way that was genuinely funny and entertaining, while still keeping a more serious undertone that gives the audience a chance to self-reflect. It's something that I feel like we don't get a lot of, and it all just goes to show the true potential of indie animation. Not having to push everything through a corporate filter does wonders for the old creativity, doesn't it? Sure, ONGEZELLIG might not have the intense action or the engaging mystery of a show like Murder Drones, but it might just have a way of helping people feel better about themselves. Anyways, yeah. Sorry if that didn't really fit with my usual lighthearted style. It was just kind of a personal video to make for me given the subject matter, you know? Either way, that's my personal take on ONGEZELLIG, and yes, I do mean my personal take. This isn't an objective analysis, this is just the opinion of a 19-year-old YouTuber, so please don't crucify me if I said something that doesn't sound right. Also, one last reminder to go watch ONGEZELLIG for yourself, because I do think that it's a genuinely enjoyable series. It's got good humor, good characters, decent animation, and of course, just the right amount of brain death. So anyways, that's it for this video, so remember to light up that like button, smoke that subscribe button, drop a big old comment, check out some of the videos on the left, and I will see you guys in the next video.